Hey everybody, Caleb here, and today is day 4 out of 60 for the 60-day upload challenge. I'm just uploading a bunch of videos showing you all guys the different topics we're going to be talking on, and today is anxiety, a thought from a Gen Zer. Now, if you don't know what Gen Zers are or what Generation Z is, it is anybody born from about the mid-1990s, so like 1995-ish, until about 2012. Now, more kids might get added into that as they see post-2012 kids just grow older and things like that. But that is that generation. I'm part of that generation, and today I want just to share some thoughts on anxiety. I am not like professionally trained in this. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. I'm just a person who's in Generation Z who has had moments of dealing with anxiety, never like clinically anything like that. Again, I don't want to like overqualify myself to talk on this topic, but I have some thoughts on it. I want to share with it. Hopefully it either shares perspective or it just gives you a voice that helps you know, if you're a part of Generation Z, that you're not alone in the midst of some of the feelings that you've been dealing with at times. So I have these thoughts. I'm going to share them right now. Let's talk about anxiety just for a little bit at least. And so I am a part of Generation Z. I am somebody who's had moments of dealing with anxiety. I think the first time I really dealt with it was probably about 2 summers ago when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and we just had a lot of uncertainty. Actually, I looked up the definition of anxiety through a good old Bing. I don't know why I used Bing. I should have used Google. But the definition of anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. When I found out about my mom, there was an uncertain outcome. I was worried, I was nervous, I was also preparing to propose to my wife. Like, there was uncertainty there. Like, I was just nervous about all this stuff. And it caused me to go through probably a 3-4 month period of time where I just was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I had nights where, I just kind of ended the day crying, and I didn't know why, and people would ask me what was wrong, and I just don't know. And it was because I didn't know what was going to happen in life. And again, there's people that deal with a lot more severe anxiety, and I don't want to belittle that. But that was kind of where I was at. That was where my situation was. And I still have moments to this day where I'll have intermediate times of dealing with anxiety where my wife tries to talk to me about it, and she'll be like, hey, like, what's going on? I can think about when she's tried to ask me why I'm feeling anxious, or I'll try to ask friends who deal with anxiety, hey, why are you feeling anxious right now? And it's one of those things where you just don't always know. You don't know why. You can't fully describe it. Like, when you have an extended period of time of anxiety, it stops feeling like a feeling. And it just starts to feel like it's the way life is, like it's a way of life, like it's how you're going to be. Now, with that being said, I think different generations handle anxiety differently. Now, when you look at Millennials or Generation X, or you look at Boomers, you end up seeing that sometimes they'll look at younger people, so under 22 or so, if they're Generation Z, and they'll say, hey, like, you have the rest of your life to worry. Don't be anxious about these things. Like, what are you worried about? Or one of the things I'll also hear is people will say, you have nothing to worry about. Like, you're just a kid. You're so young. Like, don't worry. Wait until you see the rest of life happen to you. Now, I think that was true. I think that was a true statement back when maybe Millennials were younger. Because the reality is all they had was the life they were living in front of them. Now, what do I mean by that? Generation Z, one of the main defining facts that separates us from Millennials is that our entire life has been filled with technology. So whether it's through Google or through social media or through our phones, we're not just dealing with our lives. We're dealing with the lives of everybody. It's not like keeping up with the Joneses next door. I don't need to just worry about my friends that I know. Like, I'm hearing about the reality of cancer diagnoses around the world. I'm hearing about world tragedies. I'm going through and I'm knowing about church shootings in Texas and all these different things where it's not just your immediate community anymore. It's everybody. Now, let's go back to the definition of anxiety. You're nervous about something with an uncertain outcome. So for this generation, we're so inundated with information and we don't have as much life experience yet that then we end up having anxiety overcome us because we don't know how to handle the reality of different things happening around us. But you look at somebody who maybe is older, like Gen X or Boomers and things like that, and they got to grow up, get older, and then be inundated with all of this information. They had some life experience, and I will give it like that. I don't think it's always rational why we're nervous or why we have that anxiety, and like, that is true. But the reality is we don't have the experience or always just even the mindset to know how to process it without feeling like maybe we're just becoming numb to the problems around us. And so when it comes to anxiety, like I'll even think about the times where people might say, hey, you're not old enough yet to have that, or maybe you don't have the right life experiences. Like, yeah, I don't have a mortgage. And yeah, like I do have student debt. Do have that. But somebody's like 16, 17, they don't have student debt yet. Yeah, no, they don't have a marriage that they're having to process through. They don't have kids that they're having. Yes, there's a lot of things that practically can be causing you to worry or be anxious. But the reality is, looking at someone in Gen Z and just saying, hey, like, why do you have anxiety? You don't have enough experience for this, or you don't have things to really worry about, isn't really valid anymore. And don't say that, because it's not true. Because there is stuff just coming at you. And again, like, this is more of a conversation to be had than a problem to be fixed, I think. You have moments where it's like, yes, you need to just talk with somebody, like have it where they can process through what they're feeling, what their emotions are. And yes, help them reason with it a little bit, but also help them just get to a place where it's like, oh, this isn't as imminent. This isn't something that's as uncertain. This is something that I can actually see and understand somewhat, even though it won't be all the way. And you know what? They might not be fully out of their anxiety. And again, if you deal with this like a clinical level, like anxiety consumes you, not just from your circumstances, but just from life and from your mind and from things, please, please, please know that there's people that want to help you. And reach out to those people. There's no shame in that. Like, do that, because it's so important. But right now, I just wanted to share a little bit about anxiety through my eyes as a person in Generation Z. Like, I'm going to make another video that's going to be talking about how sometimes we're just worried, not anxious. That is a reality. Sometimes our worries, we give it the title of anxiety, and that's too much power you're putting on it through your words. Like, we do need to realize that sometimes things are just something to be worried about. Like, where you're going to live next and things like that. Like, yeah, be worried. Don't let it become anxiety in you. But also, let's have conversations about this and not just look at the people younger than us or look at the people around us and say they're irrational. No. They're struggling, and they're having real feelings and real emotions that we need to help them through. And so, those are my thoughts on anxiety. I'm going to have another video out tomorrow. This was day 4 of 60. Thanks for checking it out. Comment down below maybe any of your thoughts. You might disagree with me. That's okay. I'm not offended. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'll make a new video being able to comment to that, maybe answering questions you might have. I'll do some research to answer those. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it so much. Leave a like on this video if it helped impact you or share perspective. I think it'll encourage others coming to this to see that other people will resonate with it. So, thank you guys so much. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.